Hi, I was asked to make this video by a few different people, but more recently someone offered or asked me to make it, and I thought this is actually a really good video topic, and I have more time to do so now. So let me talk about a few different things, and I'll kind of read out the questions that someone in my Discord asked, and then I can just kind of put them all out. And kind of answer them together, right? So first question was, what is your approach as a competitive player or an aspiring one when you hit walls in your development? How do you learn from mistakes? How do you try to identify holes in your gameplay? And how do you structure a training plan to improve? And how do you bring intention to your learning process? Those are all really good questions, right? And I'll go just, I guess, in order. So my approach as a competitive player is I just like to compete. Right? Like ever since I was a kid, I would play Halo 3, Halo 2, Gears of War. All of these games, I tried to be the best that I could be because I'm just a natural competitor. When I got a little bit older, I started picking up sports, right? Basketball, football, ultimate frisbee, disc golf, right? All of these things, I tried to be really good at them because I feel like that's just the most fun thing to do, right? Like getting better is so much fun because it's like an art, right? It's a process. You can see how far you've come and you see how far you have to go, right? And that's what makes it fun, right? It's like it's almost like character development, right? It's like leveling up, right? In video games, right? It's the journey, and it's not the end goal. However, at some point it does become the end goal. For example, when I first started playing One Piece, I went to my first tournament, and I've played card games before, so I figured I'd win maybe one game, brand new game. I haven't really played it that much, so maybe I'll win one game just because I know how to play card games. I won 0 games. I lost every single one my first tournament. I was playing Blurple Crocodile in set 1, right? And then a couple tournaments pass, and I start going 2-2, 2-3, 1-4, right? At the time, I didn't know Blurple Croc was super terrible, right? So I was a little discouraged. I was like, damn, do I just suck at this game, right? And then I realized, one, part of it has to do with decks that you play, right? So if you're playing a deck that is like not necessarily the best of decks, and you're playing against one of the best decks in the game, you probably shouldn't expect to win, right? No matter how good you are, some decks are just naturally better than other decks, right? So with Blurple Croc, I was going consistently towards the end of my time with Blurple Croc in set 1. I was going 3-1 in tournaments, right? I was like, okay, 3-1's not bad. I would lose in the third round or the fourth round, or I'd go 3-2, and I feel like I did great, right? And I started noticing I got better at the game, right? I was like, okay, I'm starting to understand triggers. I'm starting to understand what to play around. I'm starting to know when to attack, when not to attack, right? So it was like all these things I learned, right? And it was making a difference in my games, And then when I picked up Kid, towards the end of set 1, I never played in a Treasure Cup, never played in a regional. I went to a case tournament in Cocoa Beach, and I got in a 70-person tournament. I got I think I got third. It was either third or fourth, but I got top 4 in set 1, which is huge, right? And then I went back to my locals, and I went 5-0 with Kid, and I was like, wow, like I'm good at this game, right? Like this is awesome, right? And now, and I'm sorry, this is gonna be like a little bit of a long topic, but I ever since that case tournament, I've kind of gotten the confidence, like, okay, and the only guy I lost to was this guy who got top 4 at a Treasure Cup in Miami the week before that, right? So yeah, I felt like I was on my way to becoming really good, right? And now, through just almost a year now of playing and doing really well in locals, right? I win a lot of locals. I top 4 in locals. I just got top 8 at that Treasure Cup with Crocodile. Now, when I play in locals, I feel like I'm shocked if I don't get top 4. Right? And I'm not trying to sound cocky, but because I put the reps in, because I played so many games, because I understand the game and on a cerebral level, I feel like I can automatically win at least 2 games from knowledge alone, right? From understanding how to play the game alone. And the other 2, I have to either have a good matchup or a 50-50 matchup and just try to outplay them. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, right? That's where I'm at, and hopefully, when I start playing in even more treasure cups, now that I understand the game so well, and I will try to play at least like somewhat of a competitive deck, that's like a good pick for the tournament. Hopefully, I feel like I can top any event now. Right now, obviously, I've only done it one time, but I just really started playing a lot in these big tournaments. I've only played in a total of 5, and I got. I know top 128 doesn't mean anything, but my first 3 tournaments, I've gotten top 128, right? And then my fourth one, I got top 8 with Crocodile, or maybe I played like 6. I don't know, but it's not like I'm doing horrible in these tournaments. Like I'm still like doing at least something, right? I'm getting the extra event pack, right? So that is my approach as a competitive player, right? My approach is I'm going in to win, and when I don't win, it's surprising for me, but that's just because I have the confidence in my gameplay. Now, what happens when I hit walls, right? This is huge for me, right? Is when I hit walls, I ask myself a few different questions. I ask myself, what deck was I playing, right? Was I playing Blurple Croc? Was I playing ST10 Kid? Was I playing like a deck that isn't generally very good, right? Was I playing a deck that countered me, right? Then the next question I ask is, did I play as best as I could, right? With the cards in my hand, did I play as best as I possibly could? And if the answer is no, then I'm disappointed in myself, right? I think back to where did I go wrong? What happened that I started losing this game? Was it something he drew? Was it something I didn't do? What is it? And a lot of times when you go back in your games, you can see it, right? Now it might take like a coach or like someone who's like a little bit more knowledgeable to kind of point it out. But like if you're very familiar with the game, you can watch your own gameplay objectively and be like, okay, this is where I messed up. I should have done this. I should have done this, right? And then I ask myself, did I get unlucky, right? Did I draw cards that were playable? Did I, lose to triggers? Like what was that, right? And as long as I did pretty much everything I could have done, I don't get really too upset about it, right? I'm like, you know what? That sucks, but I'm gonna, I'll bounce back, right? I got unlucky, or I was playing a deck that wasn't very good, or whatever, right? I misplayed. I'll learn from it, right? And that leads perfectly into how do I learn from my mistakes? A lot of the times, guys, when I record a lot of my games, right? Not all of them, but I record a good amount of my games where I can kind of go back later on and see if I didn't apply pressure when I should have, or if I should have walled off when I should have, when I did apply pressure, those type of things right there. And I look at my games and I kind of figure out what went wrong. Or if I'm playing against someone that I really trust, that I think is a really good player, I ask them after the game, like, was there something I should have done that I didn't do? Was there something I could have done differently, is usually what I say, right? And the person that I play against, him and I, we usually talk about it for like a minute or two, because and I think back, because I'm kind of in like this like remembrance state. I'm like, okay, when you did this, should I have done this? And then we talk about it, and I'm like, well, I guess it didn't matter either way. I was going to lose, so it makes me feel a little bit better, right? But if there's some things that I didn't do that I should have done, I will remember it, right? And I will keep it. I will keep it in my head and replay those scenarios when I'm in those scenarios. And I'm like, okay, last time I played against Captain Kidd, I took life early when I shouldn't have, because now he can just 12-12 and I'm going to lose, right? Or next time I play Crocodile, I'm not going to play my 6 cost Thatch, right? When they're going into 9 Dawn, when they're going to have Mihawk, right? It's plays like that that'll lose you games, right? So that's how I learn from my mistakes. Now, how do I try to identify holes in my gameplay? Basically same question, right? And I look at my games. I try to see what I could have done differently. I ask them what I could have done differently if I trust that they're like knowledgeable on the game, and I talk about it, right? And I'll watch other people play games, like especially on YouTube. A person that I like to watch a lot is Strongest Wizard. He's obviously topped in multiple tournaments, and I think he's a really good player. Every time I see him play games, like even his analysis, his commentary, I think is really good. I think it's very solid. I think the plays that he makes is normally like pretty good. So I'll watch him play like decks that I don't normally play. Like I don't play a whole lot of Kid, and he'll play like other decks like Actually, I don't know. I mean, he's mainly like a kid player and like a law player these days. But even when he played law, I kind of just tuned in and watched what he did differently than I would have. And I just kind of, whenever I see him do something that I wouldn't normally do, I kind of ask myself, why would he do that, right? And what does the end of his turn look like? What would the end of my turn look like if I could have done it my way, right? And that's kind of what I do right there. And structuring a plan to improve. A lot of times, guys, I'll play against people that I trust are very good. I hit up people that have topped tournaments, right? Pretty much those are the only people I really like to play with. Just because it's like, iron sharpens iron, right? Now that I have topped a tournament, I feel like I'm even before I topped the tournament, I felt like I was very confident, but like, I was very like knowledgeable and skilled, and I like to play against other people that are very skilled as well. And when we play with each other, I trust they're making very optimal moves. So this is as close as it can get to like high level like practice, right? So if you have those people that that like have topped 64, top 32, top 8, have won a treasure cup, won a regional, something like that, feel free to reach out to them and try to play a couple games with them, see kind of pick their brain a little bit, right? I know I do that a lot, right? And then the last question is, how do I bring intention to my learning process? Is honestly how I bring intention is like every time, not every time, because this takes a lot of focus and sometimes I'm just kind of on autopilot, but I notice that a lot of the times where I'm playing in a tournament and I'm like really like focused that day, I win almost all of those tournaments, right? Because I'm actually thinking my plays through. And it comes to a point where like I did this immediately, where all day when I was playing in the treasure cup that I got top 8 at, I was like asking the right questions. How much Dawn do you have? Okay, what is he going to do, next turn? How much Dawn is he going to have next turn? This is what he could do. This is how I play around it. That's pretty much exactly what I was doing the entire time, right? And I noticed that in my treasure cup after, I was playing the same exact deck. I played a very similar deck, even though this was like the more tempo deck against a Doflamingo player. And the turn where he dropped his Kaido, I didn't ask him how much Dawn he had. And this is actually, it's crazy. This is actually stuck in my head. Like I can't stop replaying it. But if I would have asked him how much Dawn he would have had, he had exactly 9. I would have been like, okay, he keeps swinging 5s. He's going to play Kaido. But for some reason that didn't register in my head because I'm like, oh, Dofi doesn't play Kaido. And then I realized it literally does, right? So I could have saved my Miss All Sunday instead of blocking with it just to get the red rock because I thought I wasn't going to be able to get the chance to. Bad idea, right? Or I'm sorry, not the Red Rock, 3,000 Worlds. Bad idea, because as soon as he played Kaido, he popped my Zeph and then swung into my Mihawk, where he should have popped my Miss All Sunday, and I would have had 1 extra character to attack with, and all I needed at the end of the game was 1 extra character. So if I would have kept that on the field, sorry, I know that's a lot, guys, but if I would have kept it on the field, then I think I could have won that game, right? And it comes down to those mistakes right there. That how you bring intention is you have to really, that day that you're playing a game or playing in a tournament, you have to keep telling yourself, okay, focus, think, right? I know sometimes like, obviously you want to have a good time at locals, that's all, you can have a good time, but sometimes you really just have to think. At the end of the day, it is a tournament. You pay to get in, you pay to try to get prizing, to do well. If you're not like, if you're a player that like you really need to think to like win some of these games, like really hard, and you're not like getting in that mindset to do so, you're not going to win any of the game. You're not going to win tournaments, right? And that, at the end of the day, that's what you want to do. You want to win tournaments, right? So that's how you bring intention, is you have to think about, at the end of the day, think about, okay, I need to focus for this tournament and I need to play to the best of my ability. So for the next 3 hours at this tournament, during the games, I'm going to think my plays through, right? And when you do that, you start playing a whole lot better, right? And when you start playing a whole lot better, you start getting the confidence to do better in other tournaments. And then you do better in other tournaments. And then all of a sudden, you have won multiple tournaments, you've topped multiple tournaments, you're feeling very confident. And that confidence will carry you into so many games, because I know a lot of people that I coach say that they get nervous when they play against people that they know do well at tournaments, right? Even people at my locals, like not everyone obviously, but like a couple people that are like newer to the game have said that like they get nervous when they play against me because I've won like a lot of tournaments over at locals, right? I've won like a ton of them. And I'm not trying to sound cocky, but it's the truth. And the more confidence that you have the less you're going to get intimidated by like the person sitting across from you, and the more that you can kind of dial in on the game in front of you, and that way you won't make mistakes because you'll be like, oh, this guy's a good player, he'll have the Punk Gibson. Sometimes they don't have the Punk Gibson. I literally played in a pre-release today, or not the pre-release, I'm sorry, the little promo thing, you know what I'm talking about, with the sealed, I can't even think of it, but I was playing today and I left 5 Dawn open because I knew I was dead as soon as I passed my turn. I had no way to win, and the only way I could win was to bluff, right, and make him go to play defense instead of just attacking with his leader, right? And I literally was like, I sat with no blockers, no life, with 5 Dawn up, and I just looked at him, and I saw him like the wheels turning, and this guy's pretty good actually, so I'm not saying he was like outclassed or like nervous, but I saw the wheels turning in his head. Do I go for game? What if he has it? Why would he leave 5 Dawn up if he doesn't have it? Is it a bluff? And it messes with his head, right? And if he was a worse player, he would have been like, oh, he left 5 Dawn up. He doesn't have any. He's gonna have the counter for it. I might as well play defensive and try to win next turn. But he didn't do that, right? Because he was better than most people normally are. And he just attacked 9/9 and killed me, right? And I was like, yeah, I was hoping you just play defensive at the end of the day or at the end of the game right there, and then I could kill you the next turn. But you did the right thing, right? And sometimes when you gain that confidence, you can literally play a terrible game and still beat people sometimes because they get nervous, right? And that's another confidence thing. So yeah, guys, that's all I have to say. Hopefully you found this video kind of helpful. I think this was a pretty cool video, almost kind of like a self-interview thing, but I think it's cool for like newer players to kind of gauge where they're at and where to go from there. So let me know if you guys like these videos, and I have a Discord where you guys can join, and the links get me in the description below, and I have video ideas as like a tab that you can kind of just suggest things. Some things I'm going to do, some things I'm not going to do, but whenever I have a video like this that I think is really cool, I would love to kind of make a video. So yeah, guys, I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.